Okay, hello everyone, and happy Thursday. Here we are again on a Thursday to get through our upper body strength and core session today. So we're going to start off with a warm-up, no equipment involved for our workout, our exercises themselves. Got my stuff down here, including my 8-pound dumbbells, the classics, my loop bands, as well as we have this here long band, which is actually, now that I recall, going to come into play in our warm-up, but not at the very beginning, so you don't need it in your hands quite yet, but you can keep it close. Okay, so let's get you started with these arm swings, palms facing the floor. You're on a timer for these, so you don't have to worry about counting. We're trying to keep our arms straight, chest up nice and tall, alternating which arm goes up and then which one goes down. We'll go through these ones. We have a 15-second timer. As we let those arms come behind our body, we feel that opening stretch through the front of the chest, a little left over from all those push-ups on Tuesday. So we'll work through these ones, coming to the end of our 15 seconds. The next 15 seconds, arms out. We're going to keep them out and start swimming them up and down in these little swimmers, and palms facing the floor. Arms straight, trying to keep everything in that T position. Moving the arms quickly up and down, trying to get the blood flowing in the shoulders, which we're probably already starting to feel. We'll feel it even more. This next one, we're going to turn the palms to the camera here, and then we'll go forward and backward. Same thing, nice quick pace as we go through these. T shape in the arms. Oh, and the shoulders are starting to burn, and that's what we're going for. Coming to the end here in about 5 seconds. And 3, 2, we'll relax those arms down by our sides and give ourselves a nice 2 rotations backwards and then 2 rotations forwards, working through that full range of motion up to the ears, losing the neck in front, and then back down. 2 times, 2 times. Next one is down on the floor. So we're going to head on down here into our all 4 position, get our upper back, our mid back loosened up, warmed up, hand behind the head, reaching that elbow down towards the top of the hand. We want to open up the shoulders so you feel them spreading apart. Exhaling, squeezing the shoulders together, trying to look up to the ceiling as much as we can. And then we'll go through this one 15 on each side, 1, 5. So 15 reps over here. Again, trying to spread out that upper back. Exhaling, squeezing the shoulders together to see if we can get a bit more range of motion, but not allowing any movement in the legs. We want to keep the hips, the legs, everything in the low body still. So we have a count of 15. So you have lots of reps here to see if you can get a little looser. This one is certainly going to feel tighter than the one where we have our arms straight, so we can expect that. We'll get the other side going once we're finished that first side. 15 over here. Same thing, trying to spread out the shoulders. Exhaling as we open, squeezing them together. 15 over there as well. There you go. And it's quite normal in this one to have one side that feels a little tighter, a little looser than the other. We'll just try to work it with whatever range we have. All right, so 15, 15. Once you've got done, you can stand back up to the top. And we're going to go through another variation of our arm swings. Once again, I'm going to stick you guys on a timer, and that's going to start right about now. We're going to swing the arms up and over our head, alternating which arm crosses over at the top and at the bottom. So we're getting a little bit of coordination. Good morning, brain. We're turning the palms at the bottom so that they're facing us, and then opening up the palms at the top. So we'll get you guys thinking a little bit. Do not worry, you don't have to count. We're on a timer, getting that 15 seconds. I'll give you about 5 more seconds to get a couple more of those in. They do take quite a bit of thought, for sure. Once you're done that, which is right now, because the timer is done, we're going to grab onto our band. So for this next one, it's also the last one of our warm-up, we're going to be working with a band pull-apart. So in addition to our standard band pull-apart, which looks like this, we're going to have our scapula protraction, retraction, and then we'll pull apart. So it's sort of a 2-part movement here. We want to spread, reach the shoulders forward, pull them back and squeeze them together, and then we'll go through that pull apart motion. That's 1 rep, that entire thing, and we'll do 10 of these total. So for those of us who are without band, you know I got you. We're down here, thumbs facing outward, same shoulders apart, shoulders together, and then we'll lift up those arms, counting our reps like this. All right, 10 of them. So if you weren't already feeling some stuff going on in the upper back, the back of the shoulders, you will once you are finished this one here. I told you that was the last one, but I just looked at our list and we actually have one more that we are going to do. So once you are finished 10 of those, we're going into one final movement where we do not need a band. We need our feet hip width apart. We're going to stand up nice and tall, soft knees, and then we're going to hinge our hips back. So as you finish up that band one, you can get yourself in this nice strong hip hinge position. We're on this 45-degree angle. Arms are going to be straight, facing palms each other like so. One arm's going to come up and all the way back, rotating once again, following the hand with the eyes, trying to keep the legs still, hips still. Need a little bit more space on the stack because of the wall. And we're once again trying to rotate through that mid and upper back. This arm stays still. Only that moving one is rotating and opening up. So we'll go through 10 of these total, 5 on each side, and trying to promote that movement through the mid back, through the upper back, warming everything up in there. And again, for some of us, this is going to feel quite tight. You might not be able to get as far open, but it will improve in time, in practice. All right, so once you're finished those ones, we are going to get you started on our first two movements. So if you want, you can grab some water. And we are going to also grab onto our dumbbells if you have them, if you're going to use them. If you do not have dumbbells, well then you probably have our loop bands here, which I will give us. We're going to start you off today with a one-arm standing eccentric shoulder press. So the eccentric is the lowering phase. So we're going to have an emphasis on that lowering phase of our rep. And oftentimes I'll give this as like an option, but today we are all going to get this nice eccentric phase going on here. We're going to have a 3-second count, which is just a little bit longer than our normal 2-second count, from the top to the bottom. So I'm going to start off with one of my 8-pound dumbbells, doing a warm-up set here in this neutral grip position. Strong arm is out. We're going to press up and over the shoulder. 1, 2, 3 seconds on the way down. Up with 1 second. 1, 2, 3. So we're trying to keep the press nice and strong and powerful. The lower is a bit more about the control, a lot more about the control. So we're starting off with 12 reps on each side. And again, eventually I'm going to use both of my dumbbells, but the shoulders, they're quite sensitive. There's a lot of stuff going on in them. So we want to make sure that we are doing a proper warm-up set, especially if we're going to be working with something a little on the heavier side, like me, eventually using both of my dumbbells as the 16-pounder. So we'll get this on both sides to sort of warm up, prepare our shoulders for this press. Those of us who are not going heavier because maybe we just don't have that as an option, I want you to just go through this first set here, again, trying to make it controlled, breathing through it, through that 3-second lowering phase. So we'll do this on both sides. A 12, there we go. Okay, which again, yes, we'll keep it even. Now, once you're finished, we're going to do it again right away. That was just a little warm-up set to prepare our shoulders for this press that we're going to do. So again, if you are working with the same weight, we're just going to switch back to that first side and go through our first official set. And I'm going to stack these 2 dumbbells on top, or if I had a arrayment of dumbbells, I would just grab something that's maybe 5 pounds heavier, exhaling on the way up, and then same 1, 2, 3 seconds on the way down. So my strong arm out here that's not pressing, trying to breathe as I push up and out of that shoulder press. And then again, control that down phase so that arm doesn't just fall like normal, but it takes a little bit more time to get down to the bottom. So let's start our first set here, 12 and 12. Those of us who are without dumbbells, we're using a band. We're going to press and have that same slow lowering situation going on through our 12, and then we'll switch and we'll get it going on the other side, 12. Now, we are going to pair this with something. We have a back exercise, whereas this one is about the shoulders, the name, the shoulder press. So once we are finished this on both sides, we are going to go into a neutral grip row. So our neutral grip is this A position here. I'm going to be using dumbbells. For those of us who have a TRX, if we want to quickly hang that bad boy off, that is a great option to do this neutral row with. But if you don't have that as an option, then we're going to grab onto our dumbbells. Once we're finished that press, separate them or just grab your set. Same hinge position that we practiced in the warm-up, and then we'll row in, and we're following 12 reps total. So normal tempo, 1, 2, 1, 2. That being said, if we want to make this one a little harder, we'll hold it in for 1 to 2 seconds rather than just coming in and letting out like normal. Spending a little bit more time here is going to make whatever weights you're using, whatever you got in your hands, feel a bit more challenging. Or maybe a lot more challenging. Okay, so we'll get through this first official set of these neutral grip rows. Let's do the 12 reps total. Now, once we're finished these rows, we are doing it again. You probably already guessed it. We have 2 more sets to make it 3 working sets total. That sneaky little warm-up set of the shoulder press did not count, but we did our first working set after that. So once you're finished your rows, we're going right back into that shoulder press with that, again, heavier weight. 12 over here, 12 over here, and that's going to start our second set of 3. So we have 2 more to do right now. Let's get it. So again, back to our shoulder press. We want our strong arm, strong core position. We're not arching our back. We want to make sure that we have our belly button pulled into our spine, and that we're keeping that arm in that neutral position. Okay, we're not out in the wide. We're not right in front of the shoulder. We want to be out and slightly in the middle of those 2, right in the sweet spot there. There you go. All right, 12 and 12. Very nice. Okay, so again, remembering 1, 2, 3 seconds. Now, for those of us who are working with a weight that is maybe a little bit light, if you would like, right now on our next set, we can increase that time of that lowering phase, of that eccentric phase. So rather than doing 3 seconds, we can do 4 seconds. I know maybe that doesn't sound like a big difference because it's only 1 second, but it will make a huge difference. So if that's something that you feel like you would like to try on your next set, then feel free to do so, because your next set is also your last one. So if you want to make it a bit more challenging, because we know that anytime I tell you a rep or a rep range, that is what should be challenging. So if I say 12, we shouldn't be thinking about getting 15. 12 should be it. We should need to put that weight down, almost kind of struggle to get those last few reps of that 12. So if you need that extra little time to do that, then you have that option. Awesome. Okay, so we'll go through the second set. And those of us who are banding it out, we're going to hold our band sideways and then pull it in. Same rules apply with that pause. I'm going to hold it in there. We're doing 12 reps total. So on these rows, regardless of what you're using, dumbbells, bands, or even our TRX users, we want to make sure we're getting lots of movement in the upper back. We did a lot of things in our warm-up to prepare us for this, from the reaching forward and backward with the shoulder blades to the being pulled together in the pull apart. So it's what we're going to think about here, is squeezing our shoulder blades together as we pull in those weights. And if you weren't thinking about that, well, you have 1 more set to get that in. Okay, so let's get this final set in. We have about 3 minutes, my friends, to do it up and finish up this last set of these first 2 movements. Let's do it. Okay. So we'll take our sweet time. Try to be as consistent as possible, especially on these last sets. We're probably feeling them a lot more than the first set that we did, especially because there is no rest. We're just going back to back, time in between. So we'll try to keep that 3 second or whatever count you have on these even on all your reps. on both sides, especially the second side. You know, when you just want to be done, we'll try to take our time with it so that we can get the most out of these 3 rounds. Okay, so same thing with the rows. The rows are a really strong exercise compared to the shoulder press. Like the shoulder press, you're never going to be able to press as much weight as you can row going like this. And most of us, again, we are kind of stuck with maybe 1 or 2 sets of dumbbells, which is completely fine. But that means that we might have to just take our time, put more time under tension in our exercises in order to make them challenging with the weights that we have. So on our rows, this is your last set. So again, if you're getting to the end of your 12, and if you were kind of like, yeah, that wasn't that bad, I could keep going, maybe do 15, then what I want you to do is hold them. Think about what you're feeling in your back, feeling that squeeze, that work, that tension. And don't let go until you feel that happening back there. Okay, whether it's, again, 2, 3, or maybe 4 seconds every single rep. Let's try to get that in here on this last set, in which we have about just under 1.5 minutes to finish up. Let's do it. On this one, shoulder press. There we go. Okay, so this is it. Our final set, 12 reps on the shoulders, 12 reps on the rows. And then we are going to move on to part 2. All right, let's get it in. Final set of rows. These ones, that is, you already probably know we have more rows after this. So we'll finish up this last set. 12. Take your time. I want you really feeling worked in those big back muscles, the ones that run down the sides of your back by the end of the set. Once you're done, you can grab some water finally, because we have had no time to rest. But we'll take a little bit of time right now. I'll give you just under 1 minute to finish up the set and or rest if you are already done. We are going to move on to our next superset, which we need just all the same equipment for, as well as some space down on the floor. Okay, so as you are finishing up resting, I'm going to start talking about our second exercise, our second superset, I should say. So again, a combination of 2 exercises. These 2 exercises are both back muscle focused, which means we are going to take a little bit of rest once we're finished the second one. So we're going to talk about this first one, which is back in our bent over position, but we're going to turn the palms so that they're facing the legs like this, rather than being in that neutral position. Holding 1 dumbbell in each hand, we're going to row up and wide into that T position. 1 arm, all 1 arm. We're doing 10 reps on this one side here. Pulling that in, 10, and then we're going to switch and do 10 reps with the other. The entire time, I'm still holding this dumbbell down here in that same position. I'm not letting it move, so that's what we want to watch and make sure that we're not swinging or moving this arm at all. 10 and 10. So this is going to be our first one that we're working through. For those of us who are without dumbbells, we're going to hold our band here, and just because we're holding the band, we have to have our palms facing each other, which is fine. And then we're going to pull again up and wide into this wider position here. Depending on the strength of the band you have, you might be a little wider, a little bit more narrow. 10, and then we'll switch and we'll get 10 on the other side. So if you're looking at me bent over like this, if I was actually standing, we want to be up in this T position. So oftentimes we go into the A or into that neutral. We want to be way up here on all of these rows. So let's start our first set. If you have not already, and we're doing 10 and 10 while that other dumbbell hangs out in our hand. Now I have a really great way to make this feel a lot more challenging using the exact same weight, which I'm going to talk about quickly before we move on to the second exercise. Okay, so if you finish your first set, and again you were like, okay, that's not that bad, what I want you to try on the next set is rather than having the weight hang down here, we're going to have it hang up here. And then we'll go through our 10 reps while keeping that weight in that lifted 90-degree position. And then once we're done the 10, we'll switch and we'll do the 10 other side. So again, if you don't have any heavier dumbbells, if you did this, it feels kind of easy. That's what we are going to do for our next few sets. With this one, again, we're super set in it, down on the floor. So come on down here. You see me down here, that means you are too. We're gonna lay down on our tummies and get our arms into our W position. So we're 90 degrees, and then we wanna pull in so that we're feeling the shoulders being pulled down, elbows pushed to the floor, and we're squeezing those back muscles. What we're going to do is let our shoulders come forward and our hands come forward, and then we're going to pull them up and back as far as we can without lifting off the floor. We wanna stay low. So just the shoulders, they reach forward, and then they pull back. The entire time I stay down here, legs down, hips down, feet down. All that's moving is my shoulder blades, apart and together. We're working through 12 reps total on these ones here. So 12 of these guys. Again, if you want to make these a bit harder, we'll hold it in here and squeeze our upper back. We'll feel that work happening between the shoulder blades, and 12 of them. Okay, very nice. Now, if you recall, I already gave you a little pre-warning that we are going to take a little bit of rest. So we have a 30 to 45-second rest period here, which I want you to take. Again, maybe the first set was a little easy on the rows, but if you want to crank it up a notch, we're going to hold them up here, and then again, row up for 10. Rather than holding down here and rowing up for 10. Don't underestimate this one. Okay, so grab a little bit of water. Again, we'll take this time here. Between our sets, if we are again really burning and feeling our shoulders, we can do a few of these arm swings. It just helps kind of loosen and limber. When you're feeling ready, we will go into our second set, back into this guy here. Okay, but again, maybe we want to crank it up a notch and hold that guy up there. See how that feels. It's only 10 reps on each side. Yes. There you go. All right. So again, we are doing 3 more rounds after that first one. So this is your second set, and we will have 2 more to go after this one. With that little bit of rest in between. There you go. Okay. So we'll get going on these 2. Again, trying to take our time with them. Okay. We have our Supermans. We want to be in that W position with the arms and the shoulders. So if you need a little reminder on where that is, you can start off in the 90 degrees, little shoulder check. And then if you just pull down, squeeze your shoulders down, we're in that perfect position. Plus, we've created, again, that tension in your back muscles and your upper back. And then, whoo, we're going to feel this one. This one is quite foolproof if you are, again, doing that and trying to kind of pull the shoulders down. Okay, there we go. So resting. We'll take this time. We'll appreciate this rest. Grab some water. We want to roll out our shoulders a couple times, loosen them up, all optional. You can just stand there and do nothing, that's okay. But we do want to take this time in order for us to have a stronger set on the next one here. Because we have very similar stuff working on these 2. So a few more deep breaths, and then we will get going here on our third set of these ones. Okay, so back here. And into this one here, if you're unsure or if you're not feeling this in the right place, the back of your shoulder and your back muscles, we want to make sure that we have that 90-degree angle going on here. It's very easy in this one to accidentally sort of do this and lift up the wrist, and you'll see it happening if you look over there, and then you can correct it. You can also think about guiding your elbow up to the ceiling, and rather than sort of pulling it back behind you like we're used to doing in our rows, we want to send it up so that we have that angle on our arm and our wrist. Woo! And that's going to, again, allow us to use a bit more of your rear delt, the back of the shoulder, which is what we want on this one here. So we'll think about that as we start our third set, and we have 2 more to go. Alrighty. Let this in. Perfect. Woohoo! Feeling all the stuff in our back. All right, so we'll get down there onto the floor. For those of us who feel in our lower back, if that's happening to you, feeling work happening here, we shouldn't. So, reminder, when you're on the floor on your tummy, we need to keep our legs down. If your legs are lifting even a little bit, or if your ribs are lifting even a little, we're putting a lot of the tension in the work that we should be getting up here onto the low back. So think about how you're feeling, and then again, if you're feeling that work in the low back, we will remember to keep our feet down, our legs down, so that we can get it all in the up back. Okay, so we'll take this rest. We have one more round, and then we are moving on to the next part, which is much, much less on our back. Back to some burning shoulder work. Maybe. I don't know if that's better or worse. And a little bit of sneaky core work before we start our official core for the last part. All right, so again, we will take our rest, get going on our final set here. So same thing if you're sort of stuck in between. Let's say you tried this one, and it was actually way harder than you thought it was. So hard that this arm was kind of falling, and you couldn't really get all 10 reps. You're kind of stuck with a middle weight. What you can do is, again, hold and pause, or simply just slow down, because the longer you take to complete this side, the longer you're holding the weight over here, and so it's going to make your entire set feel a lot harder. If we slow down, maybe count 3 seconds up and down. You guys all know that I'm always wanting you to get the most out of these sessions, out of these exercises, and most of us are pretty limited in terms of equipment. So we're going to give you these options, these things to think about. All right, so we'll finish up 10 and 10. Woo! And then we have our last set, 12 of the Supermans. And we have about 2 minutes until we should be starting the last part of the strength before we go into the core. All right. Let's get it. Final set. 12 reps in our W Supermans. Lots of movement in the upper back. It should almost feel excessive the way you're pulling your shoulders apart and pulling them together. It's going to feel like a lot, and that is a good thing. If you're not feeling a lot of movement, you're probably not even getting a lot of movement. And that's part of the deal on this one. We want to get it moving up there. So let's try to finish strong here on this last set. 12 reps for you to practice that. Get that going on. And then you're going to rest. You have about 60 seconds until I shall start talking about our final part, which is the last part of strength, which is also, I will give you this little spiel right now, I'm going to be using our long band right here. I'm going to attach this band underneath my bookcase like this, and we are going to have 1, maybe potentially 2 exercises in this next part that are going to use this. So again, if you don't have this, completely fine. You already know that I have some options and ways to do these exercises without anchoring the band on something or without the band at all. We're using dumbbells or our glute bands. All right. So as you finish up, we will set up, if we need to, attaching our band down low to something. And again, we want to make sure that something is stable. So don't put it on like the chair of a leg chair. That's a chair leg. That's not going to be the very best because the chair will move. And that's not very safe. Okay, so we're going to get going here on our first exercise, which we learned and incorporated last week, which was our wood chopper. So we're going to be using this band held in our hands. I'm going to start holding the band on the side that it is attached on, And then I'll take this hand and loop it over top of this gripped fist like this. Straight arms. I want my feet a little wider than hip width and in line with that band. So I'm not behind it, I'm not in front of it. I'm going to turn and rotate, keeping my hips forward here, and then we'll pull up and over to the side. We're doing 12 reps of these total. So again, I'm trying to keep the hips still, but I am moving and rotating my shoulders and my torso. Right away, if you don't have a band, you're going to hold a dumbbell and get that guy going up here in the same wood chopping motion. And same thing, we're doing 12, trying to keep the hips locked in place. We're not turning legs, twisting the hips. Oh no, we want to keep those guys still so that we can get all this work in our core. Now we're going to feel our shoulders, don't get me wrong, this is the way it works in this one. But this should be feeling a lot in your torso and core muscles as we go up and we come down. We're thinking about that both ways, both sides of the rep. So we have to do this on both sides, of course. We're going to get 12 on this side, and then we'll switch and do 12 on this other side over here. Okay, so trying to, again, exhale and then inhale, have that nice controlled breath through all of those reps. Very nice. Okay, so this is our first one that we are doing. Our second one is going to be a bicep curl to shoulder press. So I'm going to hold these weights, palms facing my legs down by my sides. I'm going to curl up right over top of my shoulder and then press up and together over my head. We come down slightly apart, so of course we don't hit ourselves in the head. And then I let them down out of that curl. That's one. That whole entire thing, we are doing 10 of them. We press, okay, we lower. That's 2. Now, with the biceps, if we want to make this feel a little bit more challenging, we can allow those arms to sort of come in front of us rather than beside us. Yep. And that's going to make these weights feel a lot heavier than they actually are because we're having more tension on the arms and shoulders the entire time. So we'll go through these ones, 10 total. And all the way, curl, press equals 1. And we're doing 10 of them. There you go. Okay, so again, same rules apply. We are banding. We're going to hold that band and work through that curling, pressing motion. Awesome. Okay, so this is our second one. There are 3 exercises in this little strength circuit that we are doing. This last one is going to be a single arm lateral raise. Now we have options in terms of what equipment we can use. We can go ahead and use our dumbbell or maybe our dumbbells. Personally, those 2 stacked up is way too heavy for this one, so I'm just going to use the 1. So we're going to do one side only, counting 15 reps. We're going up there, 15 of them on one side, and then we shall switch, strong arm, that's not lifting, 15 on the other side over here. Now, if you have really light weights, what you can do is our T-hold raise. So we can lift up and hold 1 and do 15. Oh, this is a burn if you do this, but that is an option. And then our other way that we could also do this one is using our anchored band. We could lift up into that position here. And this one's nice because you can manipulate how hard you make this band really simply by either stepping further, which is going to make it tighter and make this way harder, or stepping closer, looser, and it's going to be easier, more manageable. Still going to probably be pretty challenging. So let's get this going on both sides. 15, 15, and then we are doing it again. Same thing with the no rest as we had in the very first superset. We're going to try to limit it. So once we're finished those laterals, then quick second to just think about how much your shoulders are burning, and then we are going to go into our second set of that wood chopper. So back to our band, we have it. Back into this guy here, 12 reps total. So every motion of this, again, on the way down, on the way up, we're consciously pulling in our belly button to our spine. If you're not doing that, you're just kind of like letting it all hang out, you're just sort of going up and going down, you're going to miss out on a lot in this one, a lot of that core work. And personally, this kind of core work is a lot better than all the planks and all the floor work, which is important and necessary, and we're going to do. Actually, next up, we're going to do it. But this here, again, you'll get a lot of benefit in if you're thinking about it, whereas if you're not conscious of it, it's just kind of like going through the motions. That's not what we're about. No. All right, so we'll go through these on both sides. There you go. Okay, so same rules apply if you're using that dumbbell. You want to make sure that you have that strong movement through the torso. Down the side of the hip, and then exhale up and above the shoulder. Awesome. Okay, that's the first one. Second one, then we're back to our curled press. We're completing 10 reps total in neutral grip, curling up past 90 degrees, and then we press up and together. Okay, together with the dumbbells, and we'll go through our set. Very nice, 10 of them. Perfect. Okay. 10 reps. Last set, curl to press. And then we have that last one, that single arm lateral raise. Potentially the most burning one. I mean, it's a little different. It's all about the shoulder, which is always burning a little more. Okay, so again, if you use this, you have this attached band here. If it's a light one like this, then you can go through in your 15 reps. Sometimes if this band is too heavy, we're not going to be able to actually do this. You might be stuck kind of down here, which is not so good, which in that case, I would again grab dumbbells or maybe unattach the band or loop together two of these little guys here like this, and then you can lift up one side at a time. Because I get it, this is not the strongest exercise. The shoulders, they are not the strongest muscles, especially when we're doing one side in this raising motion. So, yeah, options. Okay, so we'll get this on both sides. And then again, we are doing 2 more rounds to make it 4 sets total with 2 more sets of this. So back to that first one. Oh, yes. Here we go. Lots of time. Give it about 6 minutes until we should be starting our final part. Very nice. 15. Awesome. Now, I've talked a lot about making things harder. Last thing I want to mention is how to make this lateral raise easier. And this rule always applies to any sort of variation that we're doing. If we have a straight arm and we're lifting, then that's how we want it done. But that is going to be much harder than if we slightly bend the arm and lift it up. So if you are working with a weight, like let's say I really wanted to do my 2 weights together here, but this is not very pretty and I'm going to end up sort of leaning into it. So instead what I can do is bend the arm in slightly like so and lift up, and I might just be able to get my 10 reps, okay? And that is still a little on the heavy side. Sorry, not 15 reps. You know what I meant though. But that is something that we can think about is, again, that slight bend, even if we need to sort of use it to finish off our 15 reps. All right, so we'll get going here, 3rd set. Let's do it. Okay, again, trying to be a little bit more conscious in our core. We weren't already. Stick. There we go. Okay, so making it nice and even on both sides. Perfect. On to our 3rd set of our curling presses. All of the shoulder presses today. So in this one here, we're most likely going to feel like that bicep curl is going to be a lot more challenging than press. And that's okay. The curl is actually what we should prioritize rather than the shoulders. So what we can do again is try to make that harder for our arms by holding the weights in front of us. Makes a huge difference, even a little bit. So rather than being beside our hips, even slightly in front of the hips like this, you don't have to be all the way out here, but it's something that you can think about, because again, you're only doing 10 of these. And you want to make the 10 really dang hard. Yes, we do. That's what we're going for on all these. That's why we're here. Awesome. Okay. So we got this set of laterals, and then we have one more round. Woohoo! And then we are hanging out on the floor, working our core. Maybe it's the hardest parts. I do not know. We'll find out. I think these ones probably burn a lot more than the core work, but we will see. Okay, so 15 on our third set. Okay, trying to breathe through these ones, especially now. Whatever you're using is probably feeling a little heavier, so you're getting more tired. So we'll try to keep it even as per what we did on the last set. Perfect. And we will also try to keep it even on both sides, because you know, we have one side that's usually a little stronger, a little more capable than the other. And you want to cater to your not so strong side. So if you are feeling a really big difference in your sides, I mean, the lateral raises, single arm, that's when you're probably going to feel it more than other exercises, especially like double-sided exercise. So if you're thinking that one side is a lot stronger than the other, I want you to start on the weak side. You have one more set. So that's something that you can do on your last set here. Let's say your left arm is lacking and lacking, then we'll start on that left side and we'll get it done first so that we can give all of our energy, the strong energy that we have at the beginning of our set, to that a little bit less strong side. Okay, so we have 2 minutes to finish up, which is pretty much just enough time if you have already started your last set of our woodchuckers. Get you guys ready to chop all the wood this summer. Now this one's a really great one for the core though, so again, be conscious of it, as aware as you can of what you're feeling in there. On this last set. There you go. Okay, so as you finish up these last 2 movements, I'm going to set our interval timer for our last part, which is good news. Means you don't have to count your reps. The last counts you have to do. And perfect. Awesome. Okay. Yes. So our last final part is going to take us 12 minutes, which means I'm going to give you again just under 2 to finish up. Yes. Okay, so finishing strong and trying to maybe challenge yourself. Hold those weights in front of you a little bit further than you want to, and feeling in the core so that we're not arching our back on this curl to press. There you go. And then we got the best for last. The most burning for last are single arm lateral raises. All 15 of them with a nice high rep range, which you have had lots of practice with already. So again, we'll try to make this last set as even, as consistent as possible with our single arm laterals, because this is it. We have just under 1 minute to finish these bad boys up. And then we are hanging out on the floor. Not really just hanging out. We're going to be working down there. All about our core. We're down there to stay after this. So as you are finishing up, if you are already done, we are going to need this same attached band situation, potentially, if you have it, that is. And we want it like this, how I have mine set up here. So our mat is here, attached bands sort of where our head would be. Again, if you don't have this, do not worry. You can grab your band. I'm going to show you with the loop bands here, the way you would use that band if it wasn't attached. And then we also have a wonderful dumbbell option for those of us who don't have bands at all. All right, so we'll finish these guys up, and then we shall get ourselves set up down here on the floor. I'm actually going to give us a little bit of a angle down because we are here to stay on the floor. All right. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling all the stuff in your upper body. We are done up there. We're going to finish you off with 2 core focus exercises. The first one is going to be a dead bug, holding this band over our head. So again, if you don't have this band here, what you're going to do is, again, it can either be unattached, or you can have your 2 loop bands. We're going to hold them like this. If you have none of the above, then you'll just grab 1 dumbbell in each hand and lay on your back with the dumbbells sitting above your shoulders like this. Okay, but I'm going to use my band here. What we're doing, and you don't have to start quite yet because you're going to be on a timer and I have not pressed start on it. So if you want to practice, that's okay. If you want to just watch me, that's also okay. We're going to pull the band over, lift up the legs, and we should be feeling work to keep our lower back down right away. So if you're not feeling work in your core right away, then what you can do is scooch away from your band and then see if that helps. So it's going to add more tension. It's going to make it harder. For 60 seconds, we're going to be going through this banded dead bug where I drop 1 heel at a time without kicking the plant, right side and then left side, keeping these arms strong the entire time. Again, if you have dumbbells, you can grab those guys in your hands. I'm going to press start on this timer in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. No beep, because I always forget to turn my ringer on, but the timer is started, so let's go. So again, if you're using dumbbells, you can hold them here, and then we can slightly drop them back to create that same tense feeling in our core. And then we 1 heel at a time, right and left. Now, if you're feeling like you cannot keep your back down, regardless of what you're holding in your hands, what I want you to do is not mess with the arms, but we're just going to tap the heel with the leg bent like this, rather than straightening out that leg all the way, like that. Okay, so we'll keep working through this one. Woo, we have lots of time, 20 seconds left. Okay. So again, if you're working with the band, trying to breathe. Take your time with this one. Don't feel like you have to get so many reps in. We want quality contact with your low back on the floor. 3, 2, is this going to be? Yes, there we go. All right, rest, nice work. So you can let that band down. Put your dumbbells down. We're going to get ourselves up and into our side planking position. So for this side plank, oh, a 60-second side plank, hello. We're going to hold 1 minute side plank on each side. Stacking our feet, forearm is down, and that was our starting beat. Here we go. Now, most of us, this is going to be pretty dang hard, just holding this here. But what I want you to try and do is add these reaches underneath the hip, and then we open up and we reach down and we open, and this is us. So we have 40 seconds left. Now that's again pretty challenging. If you feel like you're not going to make it, you can try to just hold. You can separate your feet, or you can always drop down and go back into those reaches here. Okay, because again, we did this last day for 45 seconds, so we're going a little longer today. And that extra 15 seconds, you may still be working up towards being able to hold and do that reach through the entire time. There you go, unless you're a side plank master, side plank aficionado. 10 seconds left, which is not very many of us. These are really hard, these side planks. 3, 2, and rest. So we have our 20-second time for you to rest, switch sides, and get yourself ready to do this on your second side. Okay, so exactly what you did on the first side, whether it was keeping the reach throughs, having your knees, feet separated, feet stacked. Let's do it again right now. Here we go. So same thing over here. Second side. Okay, we'll try to hold this nice and strong. Maybe you tried these reach throughs and you quickly learned that they were a lot harder than they looked, and so you stop them. We'll try to do the same thing over here. 40 seconds left. Now, while you struggle, low key or high key, to get through this second side here, I will tell you that you only have to do this 2 more rounds. We have 3 sets total, and this is our first one. So we're going to do 2 more sets with the banded dead bug, side planks for 1 minute, and then we're done. Yeah, 15 seconds left. Okay, so breathe, because it's really the only thing that's going to help you right now. Focusing on your breath, not holding it. Come on now, 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Woo! All right, you thought the dead bug was hard. There you go. Okay, so we're going back to the dead bug. Back to the first one starting in 10 seconds. Okay, so again, take your time, but do hustle to get yourself ready. So when the beep goes off, you can start right away. And there it is. Okay, so again, we're pulling this band over. You can see I have a bit of band sort of hanging here. It's because I'm holding it tighter. Okay, so that's okay. Obviously, if it's hitting you in the face, you can kind of grab it into your hands like this. But again, we want to make sure that we're feeling work just to keep our arms here. So if you don't want to kind of scooch away, you can just grab a little closer on there. And if you're using the dumbbells, then you can again drop them back a little bit further, and you'll feel it's that much harder to keep your back down, which is crucial. It is the most important thing. So if there's any space under there, you're not doing this right. We'll try to tighten that up, even if that means you have to bend your legs. It's okay. I prefer that over some space, okay? 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Good job. Okay, so we're gonna get on to our second of 3 sets of our side planks. So we'll get ourselves set up, ready to side plank, starting in 5 seconds. Ready or not? Okay, let's go. Lifting into that side plank and trying to sort of drop down. I want you to find a level here that you maintain this entire time, okay? Even if that's you on your knees, holding, or maybe working with that reach through. A reminder, we want to keep the hips and everything forward in the lower body. If you think about contracting your glutes, squeezing your butt, that applies to all the versions. Straight legs, separated feet, and bent knees. 20 seconds left. There you go. So side planking for a minute, not doing anything, is pretty challenging, again, for most people, if you ask them about it. That is why we have so many regressions. 3, 2, and rest. So the regressions are the easier versions that I'm showing you, okay? It doesn't mean that you're gonna get less out of the movement. It just means that you're gonna be able to maintain that side plank hold, and that's what is going to get you stronger. If you're just kind of flopping down and lifting up and down and up, you're not challenging yourself in that side plank position. Here we go, second side. But you already knew that. So we'll get going on the second side here. Again, more than anything else, we'll try to just hold the side plank. I know I talked about that fancy reach through there, but most of us probably don't need to do that. Unless you're feeling yourself, okay? 30 seconds left. So we'll breathe through these ones and try to push our hips forward, which we're probably all gonna feel like that makes us harder, but it also makes your body become more straight, which is again gonna get you a little more out of these side planks. So we don't wanna do more than we have to. We wanna make sure that they are done properly the first time. 15 seconds left. And the second time, and the third time. So you have one more set, 10 seconds, come on. Breathing here, you got this. Don't give up. 3, 2, and now we can rest. Lower down, woo! We're gonna get our last set in, okay? So the dead bugs, the side planks, both sides, and then we are finished. Of course, we have a couple quick stretches that we are going to do, but the work shall be done after this last set. Okay, here we go. Timer has gone off, and So have we. Let's do it. Okay, so we'll try to again focus on really squeezing that back down. We should feel constant work, not just when we're lowering our legs a little. It feels really hard when we lower our legs, but even here, just with those arms up, we should feel that tension from us fighting the floor with our back. All right, 30 seconds left, which means you're more than halfway there in this final dead buggin' set. There you go. Okay, so breathing and trying to exhale when you send the leg out. Inhale when you bring it back in. Moving only one leg at a time. Yes, 5 seconds. Come on, last one. And done. All right, now side planks. Best for last. Okay, so same thing. I mean, really, usually both sides are pretty challenging in this one. But if you have one side, it's a lot harder. Start on that side. Okay, we're gonna get it done. Started right now. 60 seconds. Last and final set. Okay, so whatever again you did on the last set here, try to do it again. Try to keep it consistent so that you do not have to touch down. Only when you hear that nice beep go off in 43 seconds, in which you'll be able to just flop down on the floor and relax. But until then, the whole time we want to push the hips forward. Think about keeping our chest up, our shoulders open. We're looking forward, okay, or looking up towards the ceiling, breathing. 20 seconds left. If you are doing the reach throughs, follow that hand with your eyes, open and close. Oh yeah. 10 more seconds. Then the side. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Flip around. Flip over. Switch sides. We're going to finish strong on our second side. Starting in 10 seconds. Get ready. Couple deep breaths. We're going to need them to get through this last side plank. And let's go. Lifting up and doing the same thing you did on the first side. There you go. And this is it, my friends. This is the last one. The last exercise for today. Core movement for the week. So let's finish it up strong here in this side plank. You know, the only way we get better at side planking or any kind of planking is by doing it and by forcing ourselves into these very uncomfortable feelings and situations, which is probably what you're feeling right now. You have 30 seconds left for you to just feel that, okay? Because it is a wonderful feeling, as terrible and as challenged as you feel. This is why you're here. 20 seconds left, okay? We want to get you stronger. We want to get you better at side planks, at anything that we do in here. And that comes down to you right now. Not giving up on yourself. 10 seconds left. You got this. You do. Whether you like it or not. 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay. Very nice work. We are done. The timer is turned off. We have a couple minutes left here, and we are going to get a few stretches in together. So what we're going to do is flip onto our hands and our knees and go through our infamous cat-cows. So we're going to round our back up towards the ceiling and then arch our back. We'll do 3 of these, trying to exhale every time we move. So we'll inhale, and then we exhale, and then we inhale, and then we exhale, trying to go through 3 of them total. So up and down 3 times. They feel so nice. Once you're done your 3, you can straighten out your back. We're going to sit down on the heels and walk our fingertips away from our body. So we're in our child's pose position. And then we're going to take our right hand and put it on top of our left and turn and look underneath the left armpit. You can rest your head on the arm. And we'll breathe into this, feeling a nice big stretch on the side with the top hand in our back down here. So we should get that going on. Again, breathing. We'll take about 5 deep breaths. Feeling our belly push against our legs, and then exhale and feel our hips relax. Our back lengthen, our hand reach away from our head. Okay, so 5 deep breaths, a couple more of them. And then we'll switch sides. So now I'm going to put my left hand on top of my right, and then I'll turn and hello, I'll look underneath my right armpit. You don't have to stick your head right under there, but we'll look in that direction so that we're turning our shoulder towards the floor. And again, we'll take those 5 deep breaths, and they feel so nice. After all that stuff we did for our upper back and between our shoulders and our core. Woo! Okay, so a couple more deep breaths again. We get 5 total, and then the last one is going to be a standing up. We're going to be working with a shoulder and chest stretch. Just kind of move us up a little bit here. Ideally, a door frame would be nice so that we can have both sides being done at once. So if you have access somewhere close to you with a door frame, get yourself in there so that your arms are straight out of the shoulders, and we're feeling this opening stretch through the front of the arms maybe because of the work we did, and then the chest and the shoulders. So we're going to spend about 30 seconds here with the arms straight. Again, if you're in a door, you can sort of lean forward or backward to make the stretch more or less. We should just feel tension, shouldn't feel pain anywhere. So 30 seconds. If you joined me when I started up here, you can switch to the next one, which is moving our arms down. We want to have the arms be down like this. Again, if you don't have a door frame or a wall, we're doing one side at a time. So you can go ahead and switch sides in this flat one. And then we'll go again down, which is going to give us a bit more stretch through the top of the shoulder. Okay, again, both sides ideally. And then the last 30 seconds, which we're going to switch to right about now, is going to be up. So I'm kind of tight in this wall here, but so now we want that sort of upward angle on our arms, and we'll feel a little bit more stretch kind of underneath our armpit and the bottom of the shoulder there, and the chest muscles. Which again, we might be even feeling a little from Tuesday. Okay, so we'll release that one. The last one that you might want to do, again, if you're doing single sides, you got to switch and do the other side, is the upper back. We can interlace the fingers and spread the shoulders and tuck the chin. Just take a little bit of time to open up our upper back like this. But to you, my friends, you're done with me on this lovely Thursday. Thanks so much for getting this session in. Thanks, Dave, for hanging out in the Zoom room. Hopefully, I will see you tomorrow. We have leg day tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys feel good, and I will see you soon. Goodbye. And my replay watchers, I always love reading your comments. So if you did this and if you feel good, drop a comment below so I know you were here. And I will see you next time. Maybe not live, but that's okay. Okay, bye, you guys.